Welcome back. I suggest you take a coffee or a tea, make yourself comfortable for this next episode. So, I think we've all been there. We are lying in bed, or we have a quiet moment, we're on the train. So, you have a lot of time to think. And it can be something that happened during the day, it can be something that happened a few weeks ago, or even a longer time ago, but that one thought sets it off. That one thought leads to another one, and you get stuck in this chain of thoughts and you don't know how to calm your mind anymore. We often have the tendency to keep replaying stuff in our head, like a specific situation or something that happened in the past. We try to think what we could have done differently. We think if I did that, maybe it would have changed the outcome. It actually gives us the illusion of control. And as humans, we do love some control. And we keep sitting on it as if it's gonna change something. Or maybe by doing so, we think that we can avoid making the same mistake next time. Or maybe it's a way of looking for reassurance without asking the person for it or without asking it directly. But that self-reassurance is actually not good enough. So what happens is you get stuck in that overthinking. So an easy fix could be, I'll just ask the person if I did something wrong or if something happened. But then of course, you need to be ready for that confrontation. But that, I think, is another topic for another time. Another aspect of overthinking is when we try to read someone's mind. And I think a very accurate example is when you get a text message from your partner, for example, and his communication is like slightly off, or even his tone is like, you would say, okay, what's happening here? What's the first thing you think? Oh no, I did something. He must be annoyed by me texting him, or I don't know. It will be something like that. But that's the first thing we think about. Most of the times we try to fill in those blanks and make the reason something about us. And most of the time, of course not always, but most of the times, it's something completely different than what you thought. It might be that they had a shit day or they had a bad encounter with someone. But it's so normal to think that way because yet again, we love that control. We love to give answers to ourselves because we think it's a way of controlling it. And we don't like that uncertainty. What you also might have noticed is nowadays we have so many options. Think about it. We can have 2 options or we can have 10 options. When we have the 2 options, we only have to think about the ones that are presented to us. So you just think about the pros and the cons of these 2 options. But when you have 10 options, you have to do that with all of them. There is so much info to digest. There's so much info to work with. And what happens is that we might not end up choosing because we overthink it too much. They call this analysis paralysis. And to maybe put it in an example is, and I guarantee you that everyone's already experienced this, but for example, you're looking for a movie on Netflix or Prime or whatever, and you get presented like a ton of options. But then you start looking for 15 minutes and you're like, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to watch. And what happens is you get sick of it and you don't choose. That's what happens. So having the luxury of option is also a little curse. Another thing that I've noticed is that when you are self-aware, it might be hard. And being self-aware is such a good trait to have. Like, it's a beautiful trait to have. You can notice your emotions, your thoughts, your own behavior. It's beautiful, and it's a reflection. You reflect on things about yourself. But when that awareness becomes a constant monitoring, it can start to backfire. That self-awareness just leads to overthinking. You just overthink every little thing you said or what you did or your behavior, and it's not healthy. So when it comes to overthinking, you can also be too self-aware, and it feels like you go to extremes and you're not being realistic anymore. So once again, it's a beautiful trait, self-awareness, but when you pair it to overthinking, it can be a struggle. And mind you, people that have that struggle with depression or ADHD, they struggle with overthinking even more. When we talk about ADHD, it usually comes from having like a fast, restless mind that struggles to filter things or let go of things. So it's not weird that they struggle with overthinking. And the same with depression, like it's different. Maybe you keep thinking about why you feel so bad, or what's the point of all of this. It feeds the hopelessness and the sadness. So I think what we can see is that overthinking is really all about having control, maybe wanting to prevent negative outcomes, wanting to avoid mistakes or failure, or wanting answers for stuff that maybe don't matter anymore. So the point is not to stop thinking, because we all know we can't do that. But the point is to not let every thought get through, if that makes sense. And once again, it's such a hard thing to do, but not every thought has to lead to something. Most of the times, overthinking just means that you care and that you notice and that you want to do things right. But caring about it doesn't mean you have to care about everything. So with that being said, I hope you take what resonates with you, leave behind what doesn't. If it clicked, it clicked. And if it didn't, I see you in the next video.